Hey, here's a hot take, but maybe it's not really all that hot of a take at all. Um, and here it goes. I don't care whether Iran has nukes or not. I don't see why Iran shouldn't be allowed to have nukes. And this, for me, this goes back a ways. This goes back to um, reading an article in First Things magazine in the early 2000s. The article was by a guy named George Weigel, who is probably most famous for having written a biography of John Paul II. He's fairly well known and generally, I think, somewhat revered in Catholic conservative circles. Um, but unfortunately, Weigel is just a raging, ravaging neocon. He was completely all for the invasion of Iraq and so forth. And I remember reading this article, and this is going back years and years now. And he makes this offhand reference to rogue nations. Why should we allow? We need to be sure that rogue nations don't get nuclear weapons. And he never said what a rogue nation was. He never defined a rogue nation. And I wrote a letter, which actually ended up getting published in First Things, where I challenged him on that. I said, "What is a rogue nation? What makes a country like Iran a rogue nation? What makes a country like the United States not a rogue nation? What makes a country like Israel not a rogue nation?" It's never defined. It was never defined. I haven't heard it defined anywhere else. It's this this very disingenuous shorthand, which it seems is still, unfortunately, in use today. There's talk about why Iran shouldn't have a nuclear weapon because they might do irresponsible things with it. Well, who's saying this, right? He who is without sin cast the first stone. This is what people in America are saying. What did America do with nuclear weapons in Nagasaki and Hiroshima? Were those responsible ways of using those weapons? Murdering hundreds of thousands of people? Some would say no. I would be among them. So because the term rogue nations was never defined, I've never heard it defined, it became clear to me that it was just a weasel term. It was a disingenuous piece of rhetoric. It was a way of stigmatizing nations that are enemies of, that are framed as or seen as enemies of the United States, and saying, you're not legitimate, you're a rogue nation. But I don't understand why Iran doesn't have the right to have a nuclear weapon. If other nations are allowed to have nuclear weapons, why not Iran? Now, okay, if you're in Israel and you think that Iran is going to nuke you, Iran's going to launch a nuclear weapon to wipe out Israel. If that's what you really think is going to happen, well, then that's your thing. You take care of it. That's an Israeli thing. That does not have anything to do with the United States of America. We should completely stay out of it. We should try to make peace because it's good to establish peace and to avoid war, but we should absolutely play no part. And I say we. I don't like to talk about. I don't find that the military-industrial complex represents me, so I don't usually fall into that rhetorical habit of saying we when talking about something that the military-industrial complex does, that's affiliated with the United States government, and thinking of that as that's me, and that's all of us, that's we. No. So, but anyway, I'll finish up with my initial point, and just put an underline under it, put it in italics, put it in bold. I don't care if Iran has a nuclear weapon. It's nothing to me, it's nothing to you, and every argument against it is absolutely specious if you're coming from the United States point of view, the United States, which is responsible for all kinds of mischief across the globe, for overthrowing countries, overthrowing regimes, installing puppet regimes, interfering in elections. I mean, talking about the pot calling the kettle black, right? Talk about hypocrisy. There it is. So that's what I think. What do you think?